Yeah, okay, so for whoever's listening right now, whether it's as in real time as possible as it can be, or not, there's still a bit of a delay. I think there's less of a delay, but I believe it's around 10 seconds. So when you're hearing me say this, it was 10 seconds ago that I actually said it. So I will obviously be much quicker with the chat. If someone says something and I feel the need to immediately respond, I'll immediately respond. But if I want to respond and like me speaking, you physically see my mouth going up and down. I'm gonna hear about a 10-second delay from what's actually happening. So, yeah, that's just reality. But God is good, and we're back in business for the second time. For those of you, I'm probably going to say this a few times because I just want to get people to filter in, just get enough people, like maybe at least 5. This way, we could start the live stream because as much as I love you guys, I don't want to live stream to my grandmother, one grandmother, as much as I would love her. I'm not looking for that, but I'm also not looking for get 100,000 people on here. I'm cutting off the stream. I'm better than you all. No. So, yeah, I'm just going to wait for everyone to skedaddle on in here, and then I'll start when I think we can. Yeah. I'm going to do a bit of a test. So this is both the test and the actual stream itself. So. Oh, nice. It's like only a 5-second delay. So much better than yesterday. Praise the Lord. Alright. So now what we have to do, boys and girls, is copy and paste the link on my phone right here, and then rally the troops. I do be rallying the troops, though. I literally just sent the same person the link. Why did I click their name again? So I'm probably actually going to take a few minutes just to copy and paste the link to as many people that I know will be into it as possible. Obviously, memeing is mandatory here by federal law. If you don't meme at least 9 billion times, the UN will break down your door. So you kind of have to do it, I guess. I also have no idea who's present right now because I'm frantically spamming links and well, not spamming, but yeah, who freaking cares? So yeah, if you are in the chat and you can comment, please say hello. Feel free to dox yourself in 4K. Andrew, that's a bit too much information. Everyone can dox you. Like, well, I did tell them to dox themselves. So, Andrew, you win. You win. How do you feel? And so, yeah, just a few more minutes of me trying to get people in. Now I gotta go back onto monitoring the thing in real time. You know, the unfortunate thing is that if you're on mobile, I don't know if you can actually use the chat unless if you're using the YouTube Premium app or something like that. Yeah, I don't really know. So I'm going to attempt what's called the pro gamer move and watch my own live stream in 9K. But it's probably going to really put a strain on my computer, so we're gonna forego that, fam. Guess what I have to do, kids? I have to download the YouTube app, aka Ad Central, Advertisement Central. It's okay when I advertise my own music at the end of my TikTok, so double standards. Not studio, I already have that. Oh my lord. Enable? I disabled it because you can't even uninstall YouTube. Thank you for carrying the group chat on your back, Andrew. We, all of Exerolandia appreciates it. And screw my computer? I mean, I appreciate the enthusiasm, Andrew, but we live in a world where God says awesome things and tells us to do awesome things, and one of which is, my computer is annoying, yes, but at the end of the day, I do love it. God gave it to me somehow, in some way. He didn't drop it out of the sky, but he enabled me to get this laptop, and so at the end of the day, it's a really nice laptop, and we don't have to say screw Exero's laptop. And also, just a pro tip for everyone, not trying to gently rebuke Andrew, just him, because it's for everyone, including myself. If we are the type of person to listen to the Bible and everything that God says and want to carry it out, one of the things is that, and I literally just did a personal Bible study right before this, is that we can't be so ready to say, screw you, and certainly not the F word. Yeah, we can't be using that language. Yes, Jesus insulted the Pharisees and he said, you're a bunch of snakes, you're a bunch of vipers, and you're hypocrites, and X, Y, and Z. But that's like a particular case. And we can't really take joy in saying, screw you. Again, I'm not saying that, like, oh, I'm the king of adhering to this kind of rule or code of conduct, but it is, I believe it's worth airing out for all of us to understand. Of course, when we have public leaders like the Pharisees, or American politicians, or people within the church that know darn well better, air your grievances. But even then, you can't. I think a lot of the time when we feel we've been wronged, we feel more like we have like this some sort of pass to say negative things in negative, like be overly negative. Like if I find out that your local megachurch pastor is now dressing in drag and is leading children into perversion, yeah, I could tell him off in the following way: you are a son of Satan. You're doing things wrong that you darn well know you shouldn't be doing, and if you don't repent from this, things are going to get worse, and you're probably unsaved in X, Y, and Z. But I wouldn't take it too far as to say that screw you, F you, I hate you or something, because even when we rebuke, we have the strongest rebuke and the most reasonable person to rebuke a harsh rebuke to. At the end of the day, we want all humans to be saved, but also at the same time, most humans will go to hell, including people who think they're Christian and think that they know the Bible and God and stuff. Yeah, sorry this is taking just a bit longer to start than usual. I'm multitasking and kind of not good at it at the moment, maybe if ever. Okay, so. Oh, and just P.S. Feel free to disagree with me on certain things that I say here. What the frick am I even doing? LOL. Yeah, feel free to come here and not have to believe everything I say. We can respectfully disagree as long as it's respectful. Okay, so me, Exero, fake name. And then hop onto my own live stream in 4K. It says 2 people. No, 4 people. I was lied to. Lied to me. 2 likes, 4 people. That's kind of spicy, not gonna lie. See, I like that. I'm looking at it, and there's only like a 5 or 10 second delay. It's not like an entire minute where, an entire swath of history, like an entire history textbook has happened, and then I react. Yes, Andrew, we've multiplied 2 by 2. Crazy math, I know. I also misspelled the title. It's not K2L Listening Part number 2. That's not descriptive enough, but who cares? Okay. So, next thing we gotta do, ladies and gentlemen, or human beings. I don't think there's a single female in the chat, which, Okay, Andrew, we will probably not have started, but, feel free to do whatever, fam. So, yeah, if you're able to chat, feel free to drop a comment. Makes everything spicier now that the juggernaut of the chat, aka Andrew Silence, he has stepped off for 10 minutes, so the chat will absolutely be in despair and mourning if, I don't know, I think I'm talking too much right now. Oh well. So, yes, I'm going to... I also got to make sure that the people on TikTok know that I'm live streaming, but I don't know if they're really going to want to hop onto this, but it's what the people want, I guess. Live stream is right here. And just to let you guys know, this this listening party, if you stick to the very end, is going to be even spicier than last time. Oh. Number 1, John, that's hilarious. You make every single dad on the planet bust out with chuckling. Maybe even some of them will be like, kind of funny. And thank you, Will, for attending this listening party. It will be spicy as frick that you're going to want to grab some milk. That I will say. And then let's see if I can alert the TikTokers. Hey, let's see something kind of funny right now. The do something extremely funny. You know what I'm about to do? You know what I'm about to do? Hey TikTok, if you're an Exero music fan, I'm currently live streaming in 9 billion K. So if you're into me and my Christian EDM, IDM, whatever the frick, hop over to @ExeroMusic on YouTube. Yes, YouTube uses handles, so it's easier to find Exero. And when you search up Exero, you don't automatically find a Xerox company or something. So keep it spicy and come join us. Oh well. So yes, this is a very boring part where nothing happens except for you looking at me while I'm on my phone, expecting for epic things to occur, and they kind of aren't epic. Just frig nuggets. It's so funny, like, how much my brain is trying to kind of multitask that I almost spelled on as and. That's scary. Okay. What on frickin' frick? They don't let you like rebuffer? That's weird. Okay, so unfortunately I do believe that we're gonna have to wait just a bit longer because we're only at 3 people, and if I have reason to believe that a lot more people will be on here, I gotta maximize my time, fam. So, I will give us kind of like you at least 3. Oh, and Dr. Grinner, hello there. Thank you so much for attending this. I wish I could have attended more of your streams in the Sax Shed, but life is life, let's just say. But it's cool that you're here. Okay, we got 4 people watching apparently, which is apparently cool. So for the 4 people currently watching, let me say this. We're going to be listening to songs 10 through 16. Sometimes when you look at the like Spotify or Apple Music, Spotify, by the way, is still giving CD Baby and me an issue, CD Baby being my distributor, so we're going to have to wait a little longer for them to get K2L up on there. But people, like distributors like Apple Music and iTunes and Bandcamp and whatnot, well, actually, I don't think Bandcamp, no, I do think Bandcamp is like this. When you look at the track list, it's different from what you see on my website. So, let's take a trip down to Exero Lane. aka fake name Lane. Well, actually, since we're in the Exero lore world, it is my real name. There is no other name. Exero is my birth name, and I don't have a last name because I don't need one. LOL. Don't look at that name. Don't look at that name. It doesn't exist. And so, what I was gonna show you guys was frig here, right here. So this is the actual track list of K2L, and the thing is that the last Spicy as Frig version, Spicy as Frick song, 7 Days of Fire. It's a symphony, which means that it's a multi-movement work. Movements equal chapters within a extensive work. So it's, in my mind, it's 16 songs, yes, but on places like other distributors and maybe on YouTube, well, also if you're on the Exero channel, it's going to list more than 16. So it's 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, and 20. Is that actually 23? That's weird. Am I? No. I'm counting wrong. 1, 2, 3. It's 22 tracks. And so, yeah. Not that it matters. 2 people have fallen. Press F in the chats to pay respects, because now we've only got 2 people. Yeah. 2 people's lost. So yeah, I'm gonna have to keep talking, because at any given moment, more people will be coming in, and I have to use my time wisely so they don't immediately vanish after -5 picoseconds. So for the people who are here right now, feel free to be annoyed at how much I'm talking and how much I won't shut up. So the other lay of the land that I wanted to talk about was, during this chat, there will be a 5-minute intermission, and that's so we can just kind of take a breather, so people can use the restroom, so people get their little snacks, and so maybe I could also answer any questions that I didn't feel like answering during listening to the music. And also, there's going to be other moments, like at the very end of the stream, after 7 Days of Fire is complete, I'm going to be like showing some videos that are relevant to K2L, like something that was very crucial to me making this album, and why I keep talking about how it's my testimony of being a Christian and stuff. It's also going to be another really fun video of me during K2L, some sort of video that's relevant to why the song Trash sounds like that, why there's some weird sounding samples. We'll see why the heck did I put those samples in, and how it's relevant. And there's probably going to be other moments, both at the very end of the stream and also throughout the stream, where I answer questions, where I say things that you may not even have known to ask. And so, yeah, that sucks that I still have to be waiting for a few more minutes, and who knows if I'm going to get any more people. But we got to deal with the cards we're dealt in life. And glasses off. Because when it's not just that when I wear glasses, I immediately think that people are going to look at me as, dang, how many times does he get thrown against a locker and his lunch stolen, and how many comics does he read every 5 seconds? That kind of individual. I just don't like the way it looks. Plain and simple. So, as far as I know, we still got 2 people. That's friggin' dingus-like, but that's life. Part 2. My fellow Americans, change in America. Yes, we can. Oh, my brain just registered that, John, if you're here, you said that, don't forget the group chat, Exero. Well, it's kind of impossible for me to forget, because not only do I have it on the second screen that I'm staring at right now, aka the monitor that has my camera, because I have 2 screens set up right here. I've also got the chat right here. So, yeah. Okay, now we got 3 people watching. 1 more person to witness the insanity and enlightening nature of K2L. Yeah. Oh, and P.S. This will be all this live stream, the album and the advertising and the art and all that will be preschool compared to what I'm gonna do with BioArmor. If you don't know what BioArmor is, you should get to work on knowing what the heck that is. So yeah. I'm staring at the 3 people watching. Again, this is going to be very annoying, but just so I know that I've got 3 people committed to the live stream, because it's like we've got around an hour and a half left of this album to go through. So if you're in the chat and you've got an account, just say I'm here. While we get to work on that, I will consume a few sweet potato tortilla chips. I'll see you, Granner. This live stream was actually a setup so you could just watch me eat an entire bag of chips in 4K, and then I end the chat, obviously. I created all this artwork and the visuals and videos just so you could actually watch me eat in 4K, and that was it. It's actually kind of funny because that's kind of basically mukbangs. Personally, I don't know why people watch mukbangs. It's like, how is eating yourself literally to death entertaining? I don't get it. I don't know what's the point of watching someone eat an entire, what's a funny thing I could say? The size of an elephant, that amount of food. I don't enjoy someone shoveling down their human throat. It's not impressive, it's scary. Get help, kid. I think if a few more minutes pass by and no one joins, we're just gonna run with it. We're just gonna go for it. There's a reason why I really just want everyone to just be grouped here and get more viewers, is because let's hypothetically say that more people join later on. We're probably going to be closer to the end of the album by then, or could be. And that just kind of ruins the experience. Like, listening to the album is, for lack of a better analogy, it's like watching an entire movie. You don't go watch Infinity War without knowing anything that's behind it. So this is in principle similar. You also would have no idea what to make of the book of Revelation if you haven't read Genesis through the last book before Revelation, which I think is Jude. Obviously not Judas. Jude. I could be wrong. Oh, while we wait for more people to pile on. That sounded insulting. I do not insult my viewers. They are my lifeblood. Let's just check. Yeah, I was correct. It's Jude. Nice. I know my Bible. I better. Oh, cool. When you want to look at the live chat, you've got a live chat thingy. Nice. Like, dang, like, this is actually kind of like, I don't know. We'll just wait a few more minutes and then we're gonna start this thing up. I've also, like, before I also start up, I know, a bunch of prefaces. This is going to be an important preface that I'm going to start around 9:05. So I forgot to mention really crucial information about the previous songs in the previous live stream. So I did make some comments here and there about the song, and of course when you look at the video right here, however it looks aligned, it shows the Bible verse that the song is kind of grounded in, and this specific topic. And hello, Joshua De La Rosa. Very nice for you to be able to join me, even though you're in a presumably very transitional point in your life, and you're in another state. So I appreciate that, fam, and even though I can't hang out with you physically anymore, this is a pop-in appearance from you, so you're totes poggers, fam. Love you, bro. Just a quick question, Josh, actually. Are you going to physically, like, come to NJ and we could just, like, hang out? Because it was nice that we got to hang out for 45 minutes last year, but it's whatevs. So now we have 5 people, and it's 9:04. So that's kind of spicy, not gonna lie. I'm trying to think of what else spicy piece of information I could give before I do the official preface to the listening party. Excuse me, gentlemen. Wish I could say ladies and gentlemen, but I guess this kind of music is undesirable to the other half of humanity, so it's whatever. Just joking. Or am I? What if he wasn't joking? What if every single woman on the planet does not like Exero? What does that mean? Answers. I need them. Andrew, yet again you make me laugh internally and frequently externally. Some jokes are just enjoyed internally, you know, and that's okay. Especially if I'm talking and trying to make a wisecrack every 5 seconds. I don't think we're gonna be laughing for a straight hour, fam. Actually, on that topic, I think, yeah, so after we listened to 7 Days of Fire, one of the videos that I did want to show you guys was when I was 14. Jeez, if I was in the right mood, I'd be making a wisecrack almost every 5 seconds, and I'm not trying to exaggerate. I say a lot of exaggerations, that's not really one of them. Like, I was like, well, you guys will see. If you stick around to the end, I'll reward you with a cookie and a gold star. Alright, so you guys waited long enough. You've endured my chatterboxness. Let's just cut to the chase. Okay, so as we know, yesterday we listened to The Fear, Locked and Bundled, Slave Driver, Neurotrek, Trash, Deep in a Forest Part 1, Icebound, Odyssey Through the Luminous Metro, and It's Only a Nightmare. And each song has actually some really, like, some background that I just neglected to give you guys, all aside from what you're looking at on the visualizers that I handcrafted. So, I wrote myself some notes so I know how much I want to say. So, number 1. When I created The Fear, well, actually, dang, there's actually some spicy info I could give you guys that I didn't even access right now. I don't know if I want to go for it, because I have an entire notebook that I created in 2014, and I wrote it until the end of the album, and it has a lot of information, and there's actually, let me start off with this. Before K2L, I had this album idea called Money Cow, and it was similar to K2L, except I think it was more openly sarcastic in a way, like, hold on. I think I might actually have access to the actual track list of Money Cow. I hope there's nothing in my nose. That'd be disgusting in 4K. Because that'd be really pathetic if I did not have it. Money Cow, Money Cow, Money Cow. I make my viewers wait so much. Come on, fam. I should not have opened up the QuickTime player. That was a bad move. So yeah, there was an album that I was going to make right after the 15th Parallel, and it was called Money Cow. And it was similar in vein to K2L, where I wanted to make some social commentary, and I was writing about how I was, my beliefs and my personal struggles. But it was more when I would probably think to myself that I identify as a Catholic. For those of you who are a Catholic in the chat, please feel free to be as comfortable or uncomfortable as you want, because this is what we do here at Exero Central. We talk about beliefs and heavy things, and sometimes things get uncomfortable. Like, really. That's okay. So, actually, I just found the track list. Sorry, fam, that I can't display it physically, but this is what we get. So, the first song was actually called Slave Driver. The second song was called The King of Limbo. Third one, A Prisoner of My Own Jailhouse. Number 4, In the Flesh? With a question mark. 5 was Judgment. 6, Wasp in Your Ear. 7, The Dark Side. 8, The Light Side. 9, Gridlock. 10, Blackmail. 11, Peace for Assault. And 12, From Sheep to Lamb. And so yeah, it was pseudo K2L, and I was already writing demos at the time that they were very sparse, and I maybe wrote one or two demos for Money Cow, and no, Slave Driver did not have its own demo, or at least at the time it was not for Money Cow. Between that period, I was also trying to write this album called The Passing Show of 1879. And that was a concept album. It would have sounded exclusively like prog rock. And that was going to be... It was going to be a concept album about ghost stories around Asbury Park. But the more I tried to write one song for it, even though I thought it was pretty good at the time, I was like, I don't want to do this album. And so I think by the time I got to K2L, which was October 2014, I already wrote an actual track list, a very rough track list for K2L. And almost none of the songs from the track list appeared on the real first track list of it. The only song I think I remember that was on there was called The Fear. And certain concepts still survived from this very first track list. I'm not going to reveal what the name of the album was when I started writing K2L, because that's going to be a spicy little reveal in due time, and I don't want to say too much right now. So yeah, certain songs I wrote, one of which was The Fear. And so The Fear I created because initially I was listening to this guy named Mike Paradinas under an alias literally called Music, and it was microsymbol -ZIQ, or the Greek letter mu -ZIQ. And he wrote a song called The Fear. And I looked up another artist named Lily Allen, I believe. I don't know how I did it, but I looked at both of them up, and they wrote a song called The Fear. It didn't sound scary at all. It didn't sound like someone was afraid. From what I remember, it almost sounded like the opposite. Like I was free, and this is beautiful. And so I was just like, I'm going to write my own The Fear. So that was a very initial starting point for The Fear. So let's move on to track number 2, Locked and Bundled. So this was a very... Wait, let me look at what Andrew is saying. Well, everyone's got to make a living somehow. I don't know if I could say anything spicy or interesting or wisdom-like about food chemistry. All I know is that food chemistry can be used for very bad things, like a lot of things. Anyway, so Locked and Bundled was actually a very personal thing. Like a lot of songs on K2L started off as just exclusively personal things that I, on average, don't want to tell people, and maybe I don't even want to reflect on in general. But what I can tell you is that Locked and Bundled was, I created like this surrealist personal story about what it was like to go through OCD, what it was like to think about people's opinions on certain things, and how I felt kind of left out, and how certain things that people, like it was like certain things that people would say, almost like a lot of the time this would just stem from looking at the internet and looking at people do disturbed things and say disturbed things, and so that really haunted me. And so I wrote a song. Obviously I eventually wrote a song about it called Locked and Bundled, but the story was called OCD Adventure. And it was like, as crazy or weird as however this may sound, the story was basically I would be in some sort of cage. And the cage was designed exclusively for me to just sit there and think about what annoying thing I just saw on the internet. And so let's leave it at that, I guess, right now, because just the more details I give, the more it's like, why? And so Locked and Bundled was about that, about what it was like to be locked up and just constantly thinking about these issues. And The Fear and Locked and Bundled are tied together. They're about the same verse, and that's 2 Timothy 1:7. Contextually speaking, it's not necessarily about what I was going through, but in principle, when the Apostle Paul wrote his epistle to Timothy, he was trying to encourage him, as far as I remember, and in principle, what he was talking about in the first chapter of 2 Timothy was similar to me, if you look at it with my lens. And so The Fear and Locked and Bundled are about that, but you'll also notice that when it says, this is a paraphrase of how the verse goes, it's not verbatim, it's, what's it called? For God has not given a spirit, for God has given us a spirit of love, power, a sound mind, and self-control, something like that. And so I decided, well, what happens when we don't live this life of a sound mind, power, love, and self-control? So the Fear Locked and Bundled hang on that. I've got Slave Driver. Okie dokie. So for a very long time, even before when I was 14, I got used to the idea that people on average get their opinions from everywhere else. Obviously, it's impossible to have an opinion that's unique or a view that's totally unique, and even if it is unique, doesn't mean it's inherently good. But on average, people would just kind of go throughout their lives listening to Fox News or CNN and getting all their opinions from them. And even sometimes I would suffer from that. And so Slave Driver was kind of about that. Oh, let's look at the latest person who's wearing a Gucci shirt but can't even afford the rent. Oh, let's go look at Hollywood and model our lives after these disturbed individuals. And so Slave Driver was about that. It's about how people just, on average, lack critical thinking. And maybe they lack the drive to critically think. They can, they just either were never told to do so or don't want to. So Slave Driver is about that. But even when you start critically thinking, that's not entirely your salvation. Because then you got things that's this phrase called gatekeeping, where something like Fox News is definitely a gatekeeping operation. And so if you start to realize that things aren't right about this country and this world, and so you go run and look for information. So you get something like Fox News, for example, or probably The Blaze or Glenn Beck or something. I don't know. I may be wrong on Glenn Beck, but probably not. You look to them and you try to find the answers, but they're only giving you half the story. They're still lying to you ultimately. So Slave Driver is also about that. And so when you listen to these songs, you listen to it enough, you see the connections to the topic. Neurotrack, and I don't want to talk my head off too much, because I don't want to give too much exposition. We want to listen to these fat, juicy beats. That's what we want to do here, fam. So Neurotrack, that's another drum and bass song, because Locked and Bundled is what's called a neurofunk song. Neurotrack is a bit harder to classify, in my opinion, but I think it can be classified as what's called liquid funk or liquid drum and bass. Neurofunk, generally speaking, it ended up being a song about how your mind can be just a place of freedom, and when because you can think anything you want in your head and you're safe, I guess you could say. And so think about like video games. That is entirely a product of the good side of our imagination. One of the things that I really enjoyed playing around the time of K2L was Metroid. Oh look! I wonder what that is. And so Metroid Prime and Metroid Prime Hunters I ate up. I loved it. I don't think Neurotrack initially started off as a song modeled after one of the levels called Fendron Drifts, but almost immediately became kind of tied into that. And so Neurotrack is kind of about that, and it's not really, you're not supposed to think of it as to, like, well, what part of this song means freedom of the imagination, which part doesn't mean it. I think in general that's not entirely how my music works, and especially Neurotrack. So then you've got Trash. It's not T-R-A-S-H, it's T-R-A-S-H. And that was kind of inspired. Some elements from that song were inspired by a band named Korn, K-O-R-N. Yes, funny name, but I really liked that band at the time. I really listened to them. And they were a dark sound. They have a dark sound, and they cover dark subjects because the lead singer, Jonathan Davis, has gone through so much crap in his life. He was abused as a kid, and so I think a lot of the time when you look at their album covers, you see kind of disturbed imagery with kids. But in my mind, the reason why I think they do that is because it's like, this is what we went through, and with the album cover is what I went through. Jonathan Davis. So anyway, there are a few moments in certain songs that I heard where you're not immediately hearing the song, you're hearing some weird clip. They have an entire, like, secret section of this first self-titled album. I think it's called Michael and Jerry Ann or something like that, where it's some recording that I think Ross Robinson, their producer, I think he found it in an abandoned house, and it's just a recording of a guy arguing with his wife about like some sort of like device or something, and it was weird. But it's, and then there in the earlier on the album for the song called Clown, you don't immediately go to the song. It's like 37 seconds of the band like being funny and yelling at each other and like, just start the song already. And so I wanted to do something similar with Trash. Ultimately, I thought that was fun and spicy and breaks the mold, so I did that. And we'll hopefully towards the end you'll see what those clips really are. Also, like, if I could say something else without talking my head off and everyone getting bored to death. Actually, before we continue, can you guys let me know in the chats, is me giving an exposition of tracks 1 through 9, explaining it, is it fun? Or are you just like, Exero, we like you, but just start the freaking album already and maybe get to it some other time. So just let me know. Obviously, let me know in 4K. Thank you. Glad to know. I also want to know, I'm trying to think of what else interesting information is there about Trash. Oh, before I continue, am I interested in doing covers? Actually, yes. It will not be included on any of my albums, most likely. I don't know, I just don't like including that kind of stuff on my main line of work. But I'm thinking about maybe next year or the year after, starting a second channel that primarily does covers. There's a bunch of different covers I'd love to do for, like... Oh, sorry, I just got distracted for a second. Maybe tell us about a track, then play it, and so on. Well, the thing is that I'm going to do that for tracks 10 through 16, but I'm not going to do it for the first tracks because that was last night. And if we were to do that, we'd have to extend the session even further. And we got tired at 10:30, so fortunately, we're not going to do that. You're going to have to listen to that live stream or that section of the album on your own time. Sorry. I wish we could, but again, it would extend the live stream to 30 more minutes. Well, how's this? If I get every single person, including Peter, if you could tell me that you want to listen, if you guys want to listen to tracks 1 through 9 once again, if you're willing to do that, and you're also willing to stick with me till the very end of the album, and maybe like 20 more minutes afterward, I'll play the first 9 tracks. Because I don't want to, like, have another live stream, because, like, everyone, including me, got tired around 10:30 to 11, and so I don't want us to quit once again for the sake of that. So, if you guys think you could power on through the very latest 12 a.m., well, actually, I don't even want to do that, because I got to go to church tomorrow, so if you guys can stick around until 12:30, tell me. But if you don't think you want to go that far, because I don't really want to go that far, well then, we'll have to continue on starting at track 10. So just let me know. But for now, I'm going to continue describing the tracks. Ooh, Andrew. But you think everyone can commit to 12 a.m.? Tell me. I gotta know. Can't just have Andrew on his own. Okay, so you don't think you can stay until 12 a.m., is that correct, Andrew? Okay, so yeah, we're gonna, unfortunately, we can't play any more of the songs from previous stream. Yeah, okay, so I'm almost done with the track explanation. So, Deep in a Forest Part 1 was just written about forests and how much I like them. And there were a bunch of demos from Native Instruments, a company that I constantly buy some music software and hardware from. They had a few demos that I was inspired by, one of them called Forest and Decathlon. And so I made a song about it. Yeah. Icebound is modeled after the Metroid Prime Hunters level Arcterra. Arcterra is a nocturnal, wintry planet, and so I wanted to make a song after it. And Metroid Prime Hunters and Metroid Prime have more of a role in this album than you may think, but I don't focus on it because that's not the main focus, so I don't talk about it all that much. It was also one of the few songs on the album where I used this synthesizer called System 1. You may have seen it in other places, but I actually played it, I believe. And if I didn't, I just used it for sound design. So I had fun with that. And the song is in 6/8, but the middle section is in 9/8. For those of you unacquainted with time signatures or unusual time signatures, 9/8 people don't typically use it. So here's a typical time signature: 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Something like that. So 9/8 is a bit different. Typically, it can be done two different ways. One of them is what was it? The other one could be a little bit different, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I thought that was fun and more freeing than just using 4/4 all the time. So I put that in there. Odyssey Through the Luminous Metro is partially inspired by the Metroid Prime Hunters level, what's it called? Vesper's Defense Outpost. And there's an organ in there that I just wanted to... that inspired me. The level inspired me, so I made the song Odyssey Through the Luminous Metro. And I think I actually initially wrote the song because of the Yoshi's Island DS level, or certain areas within the game where it looks like you're in a sewer, but it's not gross and there's crud everywhere. It almost looks like a metro or a subway station or whatever. So I made the song, both of those reasons. Last song I'm going to talk about for right now, because we really want to start the stream, don't we? It's Only a Nightmare. So I think around maybe the end of 2014, I was starting to become closer and closer to converting to being a born-again Christian. And one of the things that I think I was starting to think to myself is, like, what does it mean to be saved? What does it mean to be a born-again Christian? What beliefs do I have and stuff? And so I think I was starting to think about more and more, like, both in dreams and nightmares, and during the daytime, this would be more and more of a pertinent thing. I'd be thinking about, dang, the world is messed up and the occult rules more than we think. And, oh, dang, politics are not as simple as people typically think. And, I don't know if I'm saved or not. And so that song was kind of modeled after that. And Psalm, I think, 42 really had some similar things going on there. So I dropped that verse in there. It's Only a Nightmare is also about that verse, though not only about that. And so, and also there's like this, let's just shut up and let's just start. Your people have suffered through so much. So let's begin. You guys can hear this, right? If you can't hear it, I gotta do something about it. Just saying. Thanks for keeping 100, fam. Thanks for sticking with me, kids. Now we're at 6 people. For the 2 who have not been able to stick around since the beginning, it's okay. Please stick with us because it's going to be spicy. The heat... Ew, something came out of my mouth. How embarrassing. The longer you stay here, the crazier the songs get. Yeah, I'll admit that this song, in certain sections, feels like a bit like strenuous. Even that, like, kind of echoes what I'm talking about within this song of how, with Off to Work, it's primarily about the concept of, like, basically all religions and all kind of attitudes in life. Even if you're an atheist, you're not exempt from this principle of, let me do something, maybe I'll be okay in the end. Whether there's an afterlife or not, I'll be okay in the end if I just adhere to a religion or do good things, do charity and stuff, X, Y, and Z. In the end, I need it, fam. And that's what I believed a lot, like, for all my life, because, like, I think that's just the natural tendency for humans to think that if you believe in some sort of religion or afterlife, you have to do things to keep up. Like, if you're not giving charity, if you're not adhering to X, Y, and Z doctrine, if you don't do that enough, you go to hell. But the truth is, what I believe with the Bible is that the only thing that will get you out of sin, and sin equals cosmic treason, and we all just do it by nature. Whether it's conscious or subconscious, if we know that we're doing something that we should know. Like, initially, when we're unsaved, our conscience convicts us a lot of the time. Sometimes it's faulty, but primarily it convicts us of, like, you're doing something wrong here, and there's something greater at play here. So if you listen to that, ultimately, like me, I was led to the gospel of Jesus Christ, where we just naturally do things that are evil. It doesn't matter if you stole a pencil in 3rd grade and never did it again and did all the good stuff, or if you butchered an entire country. It's all inherently, we are all inherently we naturally go towards this sin, this cosmic treason. And a great example of how naturally evil you, me, and everyone else is, how naturally evil we are. How do you think the Nazis came to power? How do you think Joe Biden, for example, came to power? Well, it wasn't just because people were helpless. People willingly let themselves convince themselves that Hitler knew what he was talking about. And by the way, Hitler's an occultist. He's not an atheist, and he's certainly not a Christian. They let themselves, they constantly either would push the blame on Hitler and say, oh, we were just following orders. Oh, yeah, I'm a high-ranking Nazi, but I was just following orders. Or, the Jews did it all, and so let's murder them. And so that, at core, we all do. It's not that we're all doing that, and it's not that we're all a bunch of Nazis, obviously not. But in principle, we are all bent on evil. Whether it's subconscious or conscious, we're all bent on that. And so, what I led to is that, with following Jesus Christ, is accepting that, even though we all deserve to go to hell for all of eternity because of this unquenchable trend of evil, even though God has every reason to damn us all. He's perfectly, like, just for doing that, because God is a judge. And so, and that's kind of funny, because my name in Hebrew is God is my judge, aka Daniel. And so, God, if we know the name of Jesus Christ, if we know that Jesus, although he is God, he is the Son of God, more on the Trinity maybe later, because there's Father, Son, and Holy Spirit, and they're all one God, but they're 3 persons. How, like, one rock is one thing, but it has 0 people. You don't call it a he, it's an it. Daniel Barkowski over here, Exero. I'm one person, so I go by one pronoun. God is also one God, but he goes by 3 people. But he's still one God. If you think you could wrap your mind around it entirely, you can't, because just that's how unique God is. And so, Jesus Christ lived a perfect life for us. And he didn't do it just to make us look like crap or something, or to make us feel bad. If anything, he lived a perfect life, and he let himself, knowing he was going to be crucified for not doing anything wrong, and he resurrected 3 days after he died. Or I don't know if it's 3 days after. It's kind of weird with the chronology of when you count things sometimes, but he resurrected 3 days later, and he beat death. And he proved that he was God, and that if you just accept that, God wants us to accept that reality and humbly admit that just by nature we sin, and we need God to help us. We want to come back to God. That's what I accepted. This song right here, Off to Work, is going to be the death sentence for anyone if they don't ultimately come to that. And a lot of people tend to think something like, well, what about all these random tribes? And if they don't know the name of Jesus Christ, then how the frick are they supposed to know? So, again, I can't give you a 9,000% clear-cut answer, but in principle, there is an answer that you can understand. So, people on average, even if they're given like a gospel opportunity, they don't want to hear it. They don't want you shoving your religion down their throats. And sometimes people just do that even if they are saved. Christians are still sinners at the end of the day. So 9 times out of 10, people really need to either have an existential crisis moment like I did to spawn this album, or they just at least need to know that there's something wrong in their life, and this is innately, this feels like the answer. But even a lot of the time, they shrug it off. And so the majority of humanity, off to work, is what they are. That's what they're judged by. Listen to the album, continue listening on, and see how all this plays out. On PS, just so I don't leave you guys hanging, when you accept that Jesus Christ as your Savior, you no longer have to go to hell. And it's not just that we want to escape hell, just to be with God. We want to come back to God. We want to be in a relationship with God. God does not force his love on people, because then in certain cases that's actually rape. But God is not that, because he hates that. He hates that. He hates forced things like that. And so, yeah, if we accept that, not only do we don't go to hell, we have an eternity spent with him. Stick around on the album to find out more spicy details. And just quick note, not again ties into the idea of what wrongful judging is like. Now, when you judge someone or something, it's not inherently evil, but you do it in a way where it's like, oh, that guy did something wrong, screw him. And when you let your mind kind of, even if you intellectually say, I don't like this person's opinion on me, and I don't care, a part of your innate nature to sin will latch onto that anyway. It doesn't care what you intellectually think. So even though I didn't care about people's opinions intellectually, I was still tied to it. Even like this year, I still somewhat struggle with that, even though this year has been astronomical with God showing me how to live the life of a Christian. Not that I wasn't, but this has been exponential growth in all the years of growth I've been as a Christian. And so what it's like to be judged by someone negatively, you're going to want to hate them in some cases. And sometimes you get into this mental habit of like, oh, if only I showed them wrong. So Not Again is about that, and it's also based off the principle of what it's like to be like that. So let's continue on. whoa, before we move on to the next song, and this thing better not... I don't know if I'm the one who's buffering or you guys are. But yes, Andrew, I know our instruments are the same thing. But, yeah, it's technically yours and mine. Clarinet, hashtag clarinet gang. Yeah, I just burped in 4K. Anyway, I prefer the electric triangle. Yeah, that's like probably a more nuanced take. I prefer the electric kazoo. So Paroxysm was about like how it's basically the downward spiral song, where if you listen to the 4 songs that are about the social anxiety and the OCD, this is the breaking part where it's just like, I'm losing it. I'm seriously losing it. I don't know if I was bipolar when I wrote K2L, and it kind of doesn't matter. I was bipolar at some point. But basically, if you read the verse that was on the video of how it talks about how if a demon enters, you know, a human, because a human is their house, as disgusting as that sounds, you know, if they do things to kind of ward off the demon, and if it doesn't put in the right thing, the demon's going to come moseying on back in there, and there's going to be more of them. And so that's both literal and metaphorical. Like, literally, if the idea is that, literally, if I wasn't putting Jesus Christ in my life, those demons are going to come mosey on. They're going to come back and even worse than before. So how the heck do you get Jesus Christ in that house? Well, the Holy Spirit is that guy who beats the demons up. Not even beats them up. They're just not allowed in the house. When the Holy Spirit, when you're a Christian, and you've got the Holy Spirit indwelling within you, demons cannot possess you. Period. Absolutely cannot possess you. I'm not even sure if they can really influence you. I know that at the very least, demons are really the behind the scenes of why things are escalating, why things are getting darker in certain ways. Yes, we humans have free will, but not as much as we'd like to think. Yes, we have free will. Yes, we get to do things on our own accord. But that also doesn't mean that God doesn't have free reign or sovereign control. A lot of people get it stuck into this Calvinistic versus Arminianism mindset where it's just like it's one or the other. But, I mean, maybe I don't entirely understand that argument, but to me, I don't identify as either, because my mindset is more of both God can be completely sovereign, but we could also have free will. It's not really a one or the other, at least for me, or I mean, at least the way I understand those terms. So, anyway, another interesting thing that Jesus was saying in that passage about, let's go back there. Let's take a gander at that passage. And let's not hear the song again, because that breaks a bit of the immersion or whatever. I don't know why it's buffering if I'm not even asking for it to load the video, but whatevs. So now when the unclean spirit comes out of a man, it passes through waterless places seeking rest. And, you know, that's kind of interesting that it says waterless. I'm not entirely sure if that's the correct translation. I picked a pretty darn good one. But waterless place is... To me, that's interesting. I don't entirely know why it says that, but I think it has something to do with God and symbolism, and water equals peace and whatnot. Passes through waterless places seeking rest, and it does not find it. Then it says, I will return to my house from which I came. When it comes, it finds it unoccupied, swept, and put in order. So that's for me, my application of this is the compulsion part of OCD. You obsess over things, then you do something compulsively to stop it. And so then it goes and takes along with it 7 other spirits more wicked than itself, and they go in and live there. And the last state of that man becomes worse than the first. This is the way it would also be with this evil generation. When he was talking with this evil generation, I'm pretty sure he was talking about not only the people around in Israel and just the entire world at the time that Jesus was saying these things. He also means them all the way to us before the rapture occurs. So that's a big generation, but not in the most literal sense. And so I'm also gonna for those of you who may or may not be Christian in the chat, because I don't entirely know everyone who's in the chat, if you identify as Catholic or this or that or whatnot, and whatever you believe in demons or not, they're here. They've always been here, but now they're really here. There's a portion at the end of K2L, a spicy portion, let's just say, that if you do something, you hear a clip about demons, a very real clip that you cannot deny. There's plenty of shaky videos of people saying, "Ghost! Demon!" But it's just like, it's kind of like Ghostbuster or Ghost Hunters, different thing. Where it's just like, how many episodes are they going to make where an object kind of falls off a shelf and it's just like, maybe it was a ghost. No, the clip that I'm talking about that you have to somehow obtain and do something to it in order to hear it / see it, whatever. It's undeniable proof that demons are here and they're not who they say they are. Let's continue. Oh, and another spicy little piece of info right before we mosey on continuing this. When I was thinking about how I'm drinking water, oh, funny, because Proxism has a verse about being waterless. Holy Spirit's just like that. He's cool. He makes cool things happen like that. So, I used to frequent this energy drink called Monster. All energy drinks are crap at the end of the day. But I really liked Monster in the can art. I was drinking it. But a lot of the time I thought to myself, well, isn't this just the 666 logo? And for those of you who don't believe that the Monster logo or symbols that we see all the time equal occult things, allow me to demonstrate that the Monster logo is 666. Nice meme, Andrew. That's gotta love the SpongeBob memes. Hebrew. Okay, so this isn't. So I think if I'm not mistaken, numbers in Hebrew are not just like 6 or 7. They're literally like words or letters or whatever. Sorry, I don't speak Hebrew, so I'm not going to pretend that I 100% know about that. But anyway, look at that. Vav. So right now it looks like it's just the letter I. I think there's certain ways where it looks exactly like the Monster logo. 6 in Hebrew. Let's take a gander at the images. Oh, I wonder what that is. Oh, let's look at Vav. Wonder what that looks like. Monster. Energy. I wonder why that they also... I think that O also is another occultic symbol, but I'd have to look into that another time. So that's clearly Vav Vav Vav. And if you're thinking, oh, Daniel, that's just a coincidence, you're making to conclusion. You jump into conclusions. What are they always saying on their cans? Unleash the beast. Why say beast? Because there are two beasts in Revelation, and that's how when when 666 is installed to enslave everyone, there is what's called the beast system, or a phrase that a lot of people use, like me and this guy named KJ Osborne, who's a conspiracy theory type person that gives you information, but just use the phrase conspiracy theory to ignore him. He's crazy, he says weird stuff, etc. Kidding. So during the time of the 70th week of Daniel, it's called the prophet Daniel, obviously not me. I'm not that into myself, thank you. So during the 70th week, aka 7 years, you've got two people, the Antichrist and a false prophet. And they are portrayed as beasts, symbolic / metaphorical beasts in Revelation. And so the more you look into logos, the harder it is to not see things. Obviously, it's not in every single logo. Like, if you look at the Exero logo, you're not going to think, dang, that's the new Twitter logo. He's one with Elon Musk. Nope. Not that crazy, but it is more uncomfortable than you think. Also, one final spicy little piece of information. Gmail. Older logo. So, look at this. Looks fairly simple. It's an envelope with the red M. It's clever. It's cool. It's iconic. Oh, let's see what we got here. Freemason aprons. I forgot exactly what they were. Oh, look at that! Dang, and I wonder why so many darn logos look like 666 if you look hard enough. Like the Bing logo, for example. Again, it's crazy, but they got to make it subtle enough where you think that if I were to say something like this, or anyone, you'd write them off as crazies and looking too much into things. Like these weirdos occultists that rule the world, I think they have this belief, if I'm not mistaken, that if they don't at least reveal a bit of their information, they're going to get bad karma. Bad karma as in it's going to go fly right back in the face. And so they got to at least sometimes tell us tongue-in-cheek. So yeah, let's continue on. I don't want to spoil the album. P.S. It's gonna keep giving me chat issues where I keep re-entering the chat, even though I'm right here, fam. I may or may not consume more chips, right? Okay, so we're at the intermission, the 5-minute intermission before we take a final big gulp of air, because then the final two songs we've got are Meanwhile and 7 Days of Fire. And oh, is 7 Days of Fire supposed to be a spicy one? So if you think any parts of the album are cinematic, you ain't heard nothing yet, fam. So if you got to go to the restroom and get a snack, maybe not because it's past 10. It's past 10. Your digestive system will not like that. But we're gonna take a 5-minute intermission. If you think you've got any like crazy questions you could want to ask me, even if it's as mundane as why does your artwork look like that, or why do you name songs like this, or anything that could come to mind, feel free to ask. But I'm not putting a gun to your head if you don't ask. Because the police from Uzbekistan will do that for me. Oh, and just to reiterate the importance of this individual, we have to meditate on this guy. Check this out. No, not Freemason aprons again. Thank you. We've seen enough of the occult in our lives. Yes. So, once again, meet Tony Levin. Everyone say, hi, Tony Levin. This is only the final exam of your existence, so if you don't say hi, Tony Levin, you get kicked off the Exero reality show. Just the way it is. Close enough. Yes, Tony, the mysterious mustache man. Okay, anyway. I don't see more high Tonys. We're gonna have to see those high Tonys, otherwise Tony will be very upset. I have no idea how many people are gonna look at this and think I'm on a schizo rant or something. Thank you for the compliment, Andrew, but that's an incredibly low bar to compare me to. That's like the Exero show, a garbage can, but better. Not that the Kardashians are garbage, but they do garbage things I don't want to see, especially on a TV show. Thank you very much. God bless. Schizo mode. No, I've gone sick old Middle Obama mode. Sicko mode. Mode. I make a cold back music. I do that. I just make some music that I don't know. I was almost about to freestyle. Reality shows? There's only one reality show. It's the Exero show. Even if you don't think you're on it, you're just the subplot. You're just the sub-arc. What's that supposed to imply? That you're not in college or a female? So, you're not in college. You're one of... Dang, well, I got told in college that there are an infinite amount of genders, so telling me you're not female is not much to work off of, bro. You gotta give me a little hint. I literally got told that in college in social science inquiry class, that theoretically there are an infinite amount of genders. And I'm supposed to believe that that's sane. Okay, fam. Lovingly, I will say that that is insane, and people need help if they think that, or even think close to that. So, generic opinion number 6,700. There are only 2 genders. Yeah. So, I don't know how many minutes it's been, but if you guys feel like you just want to go straight in, we will. But I also want to just do a quick little few descriptions of the previous songs we just heard. So let me guys know if you need a few minutes of a breather, and then we'll go straight into Meanwhile, 7 Days of Fire, then some spicy parts. We'll do so just let me know right now. ExxonMobil. Because John Jackson has told us to jump in, we have no choice but to jump in. I'm sorry, I don't make the rules. Please, I don't make the rules. Okay, so. Noise from the Beyond. Yes, it's a weird song. But just because it's weird does not mean it's necessarily bad. So, why is it called that? Why is it called Noise from the Beyond? Because a lot of the time when people say the Beyond, they mean aliens. Aliens. And so, kind of yes, kind of no. Because my belief, and which is backed by the Bible, as far as I understand things, demons equal aliens. So demons, whether they were influencing me internally, telling me things, or if they were just influencing things in my life to make me come to my breaking point, come to my point of like, I need help with life, there must be an answer to whatever. So the beyond is the demons equals aliens type thing. And the reason why you hear static and also weird noises, the weird acid bases, we'll just call them. The acid bases represent the weird alien type things, the demons behind the scenes that control everything on Earth. The noise, like the staticky type noise, is like the mental noise that it causes in my head. And so this whole song was about the 3 arcs, I'd like to call them, on K2L. You've got what I tend to call the OCD arc, the 4 songs that are about like my struggles with social anxiety and OCD and how it plagued my mind for years. Then you've got the second arc, the world arc, I tend to call it, which is about how the world is an inescapable jail cell. We've got the occult influencing everything, and sometimes the occult are so freaking mysterious you don't entirely know who they are. They've been behind the scenes for hundreds of years, maybe even ever since the Tower of Babel. And as crazy as it may sound, it's just true. You've got Satan worshippers pulling the strings in all facets of life. And so that's that arc, and how like things that the world does, everyone else when you're born and you wake up, it's just like everyone's doing the same thing. Everything seems tumultuous. Why can't the world be a better place? Why can't we all be unified and be at peace? And so then you've got the third arc, which were songs like Deep in the Forest Part 1 and Neurotrek and Icebound, and probably 1 or 2 other ones, where it's just like, dang, I want to break from it all. I want to escape to, video games, look outside nature. And that's not necessarily, I think escapism is a negative thing. It wasn't necessarily bad. Of course, let me stop. Do you guys want to finish the live stream, or should we pick up and restart tomorrow? Because Andrew, if you have one person leaving, then other people may want to leave right now. And so we can continue tomorrow if that is the better option. So everyone, please tell me if you'd like to continue tomorrow before I move forth. Okay, so if for anyone who is planning on heading off to bed right now, we will have the final live stream tomorrow. We will continue with Meanwhile and 7 Days of Fire, and I'll show you guys some funny clips or some cool or interesting clips afterwards. Let me just finish up my thought, so please just stick around just for a few more minutes. So Noise from the Beyond was all about it was the converging point of, I want to be somewhere and just have peace. I want to escape the clutches of the world. I want to escape the jail cell of my mind. And so it brought me to Jesus. And Jesus the Messiah is basically a clarinet solo with obviously other parts in there, but clarinet solo that's just completely dedicated to Jesus. I wanted to make it really expressive and big and really how I feel about Jesus, I guess. But I also I don't want to put myself up to perfectionism where this has to be the greatest work of art ever. Because the funny thing is that we don't have to be perfect. God does not expect us to be perfect because we just physically can't do that. So I both had the attitude of wanting to make a really beautiful clarinet solo, but one where I didn't even have to push myself. But even then, I kind of, pushed myself a bit with the solo, but that's the story of those songs. And so anyway, not to hold you guys any longer, hold you hostage at gunpoint. Yeah, we're gonna close up for tonight. I'm going to try harder to actually start at 8:30. Because I tried troubleshooting like half hour earlier, and I think I was at least 15 minutes earlier, but I don't know, just kind of didn't work out, and we ended up like waiting until 9:10 or whatever. So be back at the treehouse at 8:30 tomorrow. I may also move the time so everyone can join in more if I need to, but stay tuned as usual, and God bless as usual. Love you guys all. Thank you for joining this live stream. Good night. Evacuate immediately. Evacuate immediately. Evacuate immediately. The frick is all this? I didn't type that, fam. Evacuate immediately. Yes. Just letting you guys know, like, please leave. Like, seriously. If you don't, I'm gonna play this. You're leaving me a note.
Evacuate immediately. Evacuate immediately.
Frig your nuggets. So apparently we're still live. Why? Get ready for the inception, who's ever left. So apparently we're still live. Why? If you don't believe, this chat will self-explode. It's gonna explode. So apparently we're still live. How do I shut this off? Why? Someone help. Like, is there, oh, now chat will self-explode.